There's nothing more frustrating for a gardener than watching a carefully built raised bed fail before it even reaches its potential. You invest time, energy and resources, perfect soil, quality wood and thoughtful design, only to see poor drainage, depleted nutrients or pest invasions slowly destroy your garden dreams. Yet the mistakes that lead to these failures are often completely avoidable. For decades, gardeners have unknowingly repeated the same blunders that seasoned horticulturists, permaculturists and historical gardeners have long since learned to avoid. You know, understanding these pitfalls and applying practical fixes today can really mean the difference between a thriving raised bed and, well, a wasted effort. By the end of this guide, you'll know exactly how to protect your investment and honestly maximize yields, whether you're a beginner or an experienced grower. The first blunder is ignoring soil structure and composition. Even the sturdiest raised bed is, well, doomed if the soil inside it is poorly balanced. One of the most common mistakes, honestly, is filling the bed with soil that's just too heavy, too sandy, or really lacking in organic matter. Heavy clay soils, you see, compact quite easily, preventing roots from accessing oxygen and water efficiently. Conversely, overly sandy soils drain too quickly and, well, fail to retain nutrients. Historical gardening manuals from the 19th and 20th centuries, they really emphasized a balanced approach. A mix of topsoil, compost and coarse organic matter like leaf mould or aged straw creates a structure that both retains moisture and drains properly. For practical application today, you'll want to test your soil by squeezing a handful of it. It should form a loose ball that crumbles easily with gentle pressure. Mix in compost or aged manure to improve nutrient content and water retention. And, you know, add coarse materials like shredded leaves, straw or small bark chips to improve aeration. Doing so will ensure that your raised bed functions as a healthy ecosystem rather than a container full of compacted or leached soil. The second blunder is neglecting drainage and bed placement. Raised beds are often celebrated for their improved drainage, yet, you know, many gardeners undermine this advantage by placing their beds on poorly drained sites or neglecting to add drainage layers. Beds that sit on low-lying waterlogged areas will, unfortunately, suffer root rot, mould growth and reduced plant vigour. Historical accounts from wartime and early 20th century survival gardens show that really careful attention to drainage and sun exposure was essential. Elevation and orientation were key. Beds built on slightly raised mounds, with at least 6 hours of sun exposure daily, consistently outperformed their poorly positioned counterparts. To prevent this mistake, assess your garden's slope and water flow. If your area retains water after heavy rains, consider adding gravel or coarse sand to the bottom of the raised bed, or, you know, slightly elevating the bed with cinder blocks or wood foundations. Now, make sure that the long sides of your bed are positioned to capture the maximum sunlight all day long. Proper drainage, when paired with good sunlight, really helps your plants develop strong root systems and, well, it reduces the risk of disease quite a bit. The third blunder, and it's a common one, is underestimating just how much ongoing maintenance and crop rotation are needed. Even a well-built, perfectly placed raised bed can really struggle if gardeners neglect nutrient replenishment and soil management. It's quite common. Many beginners plant the same crops season after season, not really thinking about nutrient depletion or pest buildup. Historically, horticultural practices often involved rotating crops, incorporating green manure, or, alternating legumes with leafy vegetables to naturally replenish nitrogen and other nutrients. A raised bed that isn't actively managed in this way will, over time, see diminished yields and, unfortunately, increased vulnerability to pests and diseases. Practically, you can apply these lessons by planning a crop rotation schedule for each bed. Alternate leafy greens, root vegetables and legumes to maintain soil fertility. Incorporate cover crops during off-seasons to add organic matter, suppress weeds, and improve microbial activity in the soil. Adding mulch or a thin layer of compost annually ensures the soil remains rich, crumbly, and full of life. This proactive approach, mirrors the methods that allowed historical gardeners to sustain productivity over decades. Understanding these blunders really highlights the importance of observation and adaptation. One of the greatest lessons from historical and modern gardening alike is that, observation is truly the gardener's most valuable tool. Soil compaction, drainage issues, and nutrient depletion can often be detected before catastrophic plant failure occurs. It's wise to inspect your beds regularly, monitor soil moisture, and observe plant health. Small interventions, such as loosening compacted soil, amending nutrient deficiencies or adjusting watering schedules, can honestly prevent minor issues from becoming major problems. Even more, these lessons emphasize that raised beds are living systems, not static containers. By learning from both past gardeners and modern practitioners, you can adapt your practices to your own climate, soil type, and crop selection. The raised bed becomes more than just a gardening technique. It becomes a resilient, self-renewing ecosystem. In conclusion, avoiding the three most common raised bed blunders, ignoring soil structure, neglecting drainage and placement, and underestimating ongoing maintenance, can really transform your gardening experience. When you invest the time to build, prepare, and maintain your beds properly, you unlock the full potential of raised bed gardening. Strong roots, abundant yields, and, healthier soil over the long term. If you found this guide valuable and want more practical, historically informed gardening strategies, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with fellow gardeners who want to protect their raised beds and, grow smarter, not harder.